I think you have to accept that. And I think we'll get started. I think you all got my email last night. It's just going to be relatively informal. There's no PowerPoint presentation. Um, it's really going to be your meeting. It's going to be great to hear from each of you to see where you are in the with implementing the program. And I know we have some new chapters on board. It's great to have Ty Naughton and Greater Wyoming Valley and Quittapahilla represented tonight. They're the three newest chapters that are getting their signs. I think Hannah got her signs for Quittapahilla just earlier this week, and we're looking to rock and roll. So, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Lee Altadonna. I'm president of the Pennsylvania Audubon Council, and for the purposes tonight, I'm also the coordinator for the Liberty Bird Alliance. That's the Philadelphia chapter with parts of Montgomery County, and I do the bird habitat recognition program for that chapter. I'm past president of the chapter, so I guess they needed to find something for me to do, and and they
Lee, do you actually think there's anybody in Pennsylvania who doesn't know who you are?
I think there are. I think there are. I know the governor knows who I am, but
I think they'd be hard to find.
which is pretty good. So let me just very very quick recap, and then I want to hear from each of you. And you can either raise your hand, or I'll just call on you to share what you've been doing with the program since the launch, or what you're planning to do if you're one of the new chapters that have just enrolled, and we can go from there. I know Valley Forge is not able to participate tonight, but Pat Nastasi, who is their representative, gave me a couple things to read, and I can do that first. But let me just say that it's been over a year where the council in Birdtown, Pennsylvania, were excited about really rolling up our sleeves and getting the program to continue after Audubon, Pennsylvania's program was dropped over a year ago, and with a task force that included some chapter leaders and some Birdtown leaders, we've redesigned and updated the program. The new sign has the trademark logo that was created for Birdtown, and it's trademarked by the council and copyrighted. So it's great that the logo has reunited something that had been in place historically, and that is the Birdtown logo and the logo for the backyard habitat program are one and the same, and that's something we haven't had the benefit of for a number of years. So it reunites that. And based on all of that, we were able to get this launched late summer. September 1st was the official launch. I can tell you that statewide, I checked yesterday, I think we're around 212 properties that have been uh, identified and people have their signs. And basically, what the council has been able to do is with underwriting of a donation, we've been able to get the signs developed for the chapters that want them. So they're available at no cost to the chapter. There's a sticker, and I want to talk a little bit more about the sticker because I know my chapter, there's been nobody that has gotten a sticker. It was intended for people that might live in apartments and just have a deck and or in an at a HOA and not allowed to put a sign out, so they could put their sign on their mantle and put a sticker in their window. But we haven't gotten any of those used yet. So I'd like to hear your feedback on whether the stickers are really an important component. They're not that expensive. The signs are the expensive component. And then what we ask from the chapter is basically the chapter is responsible for designating a person who will get the information when somebody who has made a successful application within your chapter territory, you get notice, and then you have to contact that individual and determine how they are going to get their bird habitat sign. Every chapter is doing it differently, and it's up to the chapter to work those details out. and we can, do that when we do the round robin here. If you have a plan in place, or if you've had a plan that is in the offing, if you're a newer chapter, what you plan to do in terms of distribution of the signs. So basically, that's the incredible part of this. The fact that there's a $30 application fee helps to make the program sustainable, so that with the initial grant, we know we're still in the black with the original funds that were developed. The signs have gone out to virtually all of you, and they are the most expensive part of the program. The other part is the back end, all of the work to get this done without staff, to have the application get in and handled electronically, and then, getting the information, the automatic reply going out to the applicant, to the chapter contact, has been a part of the expense as well. But that's pretty much a one-time expense, although there'll be some things we'll want to do over these winter months. We expect to be a little bit quieter in terms of the number of people that register their property, but you never know, in terms of that. So as I said in my email, I wanted to give you that little bit of information, and then there'll be a few other things I wanted to touch base on, and then provide an opportunity for each of you to also raise issues we need to address. I will at the front end explain one issue. We have an anonymous donor who has been willing to contribute $5,000 so that individuals that live in um, areas or census tracts that are areas of need, kind of environmental justice areas, that we find a way that we can make sure that an individual that lives in that area and wants to participate can avoid having to pay a registration fee. Right now, properties that are either places of worship, schools, or municipal are the ones that do not have a fee. We do want to add some things over the winter. I think Todd Dayton's very interested in having some state parks recognized. And so we'd like to, I think, not just because of them, but there are a lot of uh, I guess native plant gardens in a lot of our state parks that are near or in our chapter habitats or in our chapter territories. And we'd like to make sure state parks have an opportunity to register for it. And we might want to go right to DCNR to allow them to have their parks apply for the signs directly. And it'd be something we'd want to do over the winter. So that'd be a nice way to also promote the program so that visitors to state parks say, gee, I'd like to get one of those really pretty signs, the prettiest backyard habitat sign that's in the whole country. So we can work on that. So there are a couple of things we're working on. But we can do the round robin. I can start out by sharing what Pat Nastasi has said. They are on their third batch of signs that they ordered. They're having tremendous success. They are the second largest chapter in the state, so that makes some sense. 25 were given to the Delaware County Advocacy Group. She gave 10 to Birdtown Contact in Westtown. That's a bird town. It will cover that part of Chester County for them. Patty Worth still has 10 signs for Northern Chester County. Lynn Snowden, you don't need to know all these names, but Lynn Snowden is moving. I'll be returning any signs that's left over, and Pat will continue to cover Montgomery County. So they have people that are either where people go to pick up the signs, or some of these individuals may deliver sign. They had an article about the program in their fall and winter newsletter. And just from that article alone, they got 7 successful applications submitted. So that's works pretty well. So that is Pat's report, not indicating any difficulty or issues. She might think of some if she was online here. Always people can have some things occur. And then I think we've addressed a number of things. I can tell you for Liberty Bird Alliance, We have picked up a nature center that will take signs to help distribute, so people in kind of eastern Montgomery County will be able to go to the Briarbush Nature Center to pick up signs. Um, I have been hand delivering the signs, and that's for two purposes. I've really wanted to see the properties where people have applied. It's a recognition program, not a certification program. So if people fill out the application and check the appropriate number of boxes that are required to be recognized, they apply, they are able to qualify. So they have a successful application. I have seen quite a range of properties, some that I think, boy, they have a lot of work to do to get more native plants in their yard, and others that, um, you know, that, um, some that are just, I think I tell one story, pretty typical suburban yard community in Montgomery County, Upper Gwinnett, which I think just became a bird town. But at any rate, I'm going down the street, following my, uh, little artificial, Google map thing. And, as I'm pulling up, it says the property is up and on your right. Well, I didn't need to know that because everybody had a mowed lawn. I got to this yard, their complete yard was a meadow. And they also had three other kinds of signs in their yard. They had, different kinds of pollinator signs and the monarch butterfly sign, that type of thing. And so, some of them are really deeply into it, and some have work to do. One other property was a row house in Lansdale, and that's not a bird town, but Lansdale and this row house had a very small property, had bird feeders up and a bird bath. And it was the end of the row. I think there were like four or a half dozen houses in this row. And the woman the mother comes out and is explaining just, she had a small garden in front of her porch, goldenrod, echinacea, purple cone flower, a few other kinds of flowers, and just was excited to get the sign and telling me about, here are my plans for next spring. I'm going to expand the garden this way, and we're doing a walk that way. She had Lonicera, the native honeysuckle in her backyard, and it's just fun to see the people. So I know a few of the chapters are having some people, bring the signs to people, but it is a lot easier, I must say, in the western part of Montgomery County. We have another contact where we'll be able to direct people to pick the sign up. It's a little hard to drive. We've done 53 properties since September 1st in our chapter, and so I do a lot of driving. I have one to deliver. Yeah, Barbara, you might be, or Heidi might be interested in this. Bruce McNaughton's son lives in Ambler, not far from here, and he just is qualified. So I'm seeing him and his wife on Friday to give them their sign. So they're not in Bucks County, but nonetheless, they're getting a Liberty Bird Alliance sign. So, that's my report. I gave the Valley Forge report. Does anybody want to, just explain who you are and what your role is with the chapter when you come on? But does somebody want to just explain? I know you're all in different phases of this. Some of you have, have the signs and have barely rolled it out. Others of you are just getting started. But if you want to share what your plans are with the rest of the group, and then we'll turn it around to what the needs are. What are some of the problems you might be encountering that we can take a look at in a little bit of the quieter period over winter to address? So does anybody want to go with that? All right, Sue.
Hi, I'm Sue Morosky, Presque Isle Audubon, a society up in the northwest corner of the state. We started our program after our September board meeting. We haven't had a huge response. I'm going to say maybe 10 people so far. Some of the signs have been mailed out. Some I've delivered because it's just fun because people are so excited to get these signs. And I haven't looked at their gardens. I've just been chatting with them. I suppose next time I deliver some, I'll make an effort to see what they have. And some people have been gracious enough that when they've had the sign mailed to them, they send us a picture. So there's myself delivering them, and then there's another person on the board that's delivering them. And I want to push the free signs. I'm still working on a plan to send out a letter to all the municipalities in Erie and Crawford County, which our branch of Audubon covers. I think we'll get a lot of takers that way. But I hope to see the program expand as time goes on, but I think it's going to need more advertising.
Thank you, Sue. Somebody else want to report for their chapter? Phil, you are Valley Forge. You can correct Pat Nastasi's report.
No, I can't. I can't correct her report. She's the central connection for all of the information. But in addition to being on the board at Birdtown, PA, I also am on the advocacy committee for Valley Forge, and we have a lot of bird towns in our area, and so I don't think we're going to have any problems and I think we'll mostly hand deliver those signs as they start coming in. I know I hand delivered one, and it was really a neat experience. And So, and I'm also on the EAC for different township, and I just had a meeting last night where we're gonna start to push this more. I'm gonna do some articles in the township newsletter and so forth.
That's great. Thank you, Phil. One of the things I was just that you triggered is when you do hand deliver a sign, people are very agreeable about taking a picture with their sign in front of their garden, even if it's a winter garden, and that's a lot of fun too. People are pretty proud to display the sign.
Yeah,
And
I got a little distracted by the immature red-tailed hawk that was perched on the phone line right over my head.
someone else want to go?
I can.
Okay, Barbara.
Yeah, Lehigh Valley Audubon, and Peter, well, below me on my screen anyway, is also Lehigh Valley Audubon. Yeah, so like Lee said, the program kind of opened in September 1-ish. We had a bit of a delay really launching because I wanted to establish a bunch of different pickup spots throughout the Lehigh Valley before we had people applying. So in the end, we got 7 different pickup spots spread pretty well across the valley, ranging from a sustainability manager's office in Easton to a park office, county park office in, kind of another part of Easton, I guess, to actually and a park office in Allentown, city park office. We have a native plant nursery as one of the pickup spots, and a few others. I think a township building in Macungie and so on. So we eventually gathered 7 different spots. We have a letter that tells everybody the address, the hours they're open, what room to knock on the door of, and so on. And we delivered to each of those spots a set of signs and a clipboard with a sheet for people to sign their name when they pick up their sign, just to kind of keep a record of who has received their sign, and also instructions to the pickup spot with contact information to get back to us when their number of signs is running low. But I think we may have to actually do some more active contacting these locations periodically to say, do you have enough signs? Do you want us to get you some more? Because I don't know how proactive they're going to be about contacting us. But anyway, so it took maybe to around October 1 to get the 7 sites lined up and the letter prepared. But then we launched it. We put it on all our social media. We put it in our newsletter. And we sent out an email to our membership That's as far as I can remember. And I think we've given out about 25-ish so far, which I think is not bad considering that we didn't launch till October when gardening activities are kind of winding down. Um, so yeah, I was just thinking as other people were talking in the spring, we should really do just repeat the blast. And oh, and we had a little article in our newsletter if I didn't say that. But I think in the spring, when people are thinking about gardening again, we should repeat the blast and just go to all those outlets again. And I like the idea that somebody just said about the EACs. Maybe I can get the different EACs to put something in their social media or their newsletter.
That's great, and you will have to find a way to share all these ideas that are working too. But thank you, Barbara. And I know we'll talk a little bit later about Birdtown clutches. I know Heidi's been engineering those, and I think you're the last of the Birdtown clutches. And I'll see some of you folks in Lehigh Valley. And I think Heidi, I don't know if you're going to be able to join us, but um, the Birdtowns have been very enthusiastic for those chapters that have one or more bird towns, especially if they have multiple bird towns. We have clutch meetings, and they've been very enthusiastic about the program. And so they're going to help promote it as well. I also think as we track the municipalities that may not be bird towns, and we find that there are a number of properties that qualify in a municipality, it might be a marker or kind of a lead marker for potential for a municipality to become a bird town. It might be something we're going to be able to see. Um,
Yeah, I just want to say real quick, with
yes,
Barbara, some of those were also bird towns too, like Wakunji and Allentown and Easton. Hopefully those were the leaders that were helping as well. And
Yeah, a few of them, yes. Yeah.
yeah,
good. I'm glad. I'm glad they're good. Yay.
And I like that idea also of going to them and asking them to promote on their social media or their newsletters if they have.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome.
that's great. And I was going to call on you. I know you've just gotten your signs this week. Do you like your signs?
Beautiful. I work at the Lebanon County Conservation District. So I am going to be handing out the signs in our office. I think it was kind of nice because my board is interested in sometimes some of our work can be kind of controversial and we get a lot of opinions from the public. We work with farmers, so people have feelings about things. And so I think my board was excited to have kind of a little fluff piece, which, will get traffic through our door. Um, so it was pretty easy to convince my board to get on board. Um, so we'll be handing out the signs in our office. But yeah, the signs came to my office, and even the people who aren't really crazy about birds came in and said, "Ooh, look how cute the signs are." So yeah, they showed up. We only have one application so far, but that's because we haven't advertised. And the one application is one of my board members. So that'll be fun to have our
Yeah.
first
And
our
Hannah, when
first
you
sign go
when
up.
you talk about your board, I think you're talking about your conservation district
Yes.
board, but
Yes.
you also
At
are on
work.
the board of Quittapahilla Audubon. And,
Yes. I'm the secretary for Quittapahilla Audubon, and I guess technically the secretary for my board at work as well. Um, but yes, when I was saying my board, I meant my board at work.
right,
Bunch of old farmers.
and I think it was pretty easy. I know Quittapahilla has been very interested in native plants and birds for a long time, so
Yep.
happy marriage.
Yep. I think they all have their own things that they do. I'm kind of new to our Audubon Society board, so when there was a new opportunity, it was kind of a nice thing for me to latch on to and say, I'll take that over.
Yeah. And if you have questions at the end of this, we'll have a chance, especially for you and Sean and for Barbara, if you want to raise some questions, or Jeff from Greater Wyoming Valley. We can maybe share some of some of us old hands since September 1st can maybe give some advice.
If we're able to share, like I know a couple people mentioned the letter that you send out,
Mhm.
or like your sheet where people sign off on um the signs, it would be nice to have something to go off of instead of reinventing the wheel and making my own.
Yeah, I don't know if we have a way that we can probably find a way to do that. Maybe, some of us been aware we've been talking about Google groups for advocacy. Maybe we need a Google group for bird habitat recognition. I'll explain that in a little while, but
Hey, Lee,
yes,
I wonder if they could just be posted on the Pennsylvania Audubon Council's website in that resource section.
we could certainly do that.
Yeah,
And we'll give
that's it.
direction to that. That's a
Yeah.
that's a great suggestion, Sue.
I have a question then. Would a county conservation office, the physical office, if they had a native plant garden, would they be eligible for a free sign too?
I consider that municipal, so I really want to broaden that category.
Okay.
So if any of you have suggestions for, municipal, we usually think about a township or a borough, that type of thing. But if we start talking about, state parks, and actually, I had to have a land trust pay a fee, and I told them I'd reimburse them on the board of that land trust. But I think a land trust, ought to be able to apply for free. And I know, I think in Lehigh Valley, it was a Wildlands Conservancy, Nature Center. Do I have the right term, Peter and Barbara? Yeah, that they had to pay a fee, but they had to do it with a credit card, and it became a little bit of an issue, to be able to get a receipt. So they have the information internally, but I think, yeah, it's those kinds of places that really people come to that would help promote the whole program. So I'd rather see those kinds of places get the sign without a fee, so that people that frequent those centers or land trusts or county parks can take a picture or take the QR code and get it for their own yard.
Yeah,
You know,
who was it at, yeah,
yeah,
what,
go ahead, Peter.
who was it at, Wildlands Conservancy?
Uh, oh, yeah, Barbara, you're muted. It's the guy that's on your board. He has the
No,
little
it was
girl.
not, sorry, it was not Wildlands Conservancy. It
Okay.
was the Da Vinci Science Center.
Okay.
Yeah, and the only, I didn't know, was I supposed to give it to him for free?
No, yeah, it came through it. That's some of the stuff we'll work on, Barbara.
Right.
So
No, but was he, are places like the Science Center or Wildlands, or a county park, are they supposed to get them free?
we got to work on that. That's exactly what
Okay.
I'm talking about. Because what happens at the back end is they should never encounter a request to put up a credit card or make a payment. So I have to work with function and flow so at the back end, if they check off the right kind of box, they'll be able to fill out the application and never be requested to make a payment. So that's what happens right now with a place of worship, with a school, or with a municipal park. It could be, without any kind of a fee or even knowing that there's a fee, that we do that. Barbara, the other
Yeah,
Barbara.
sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Got headphones in. Um, the one difficult person that had a church, they helped their church sign up in our group. Um, it finally got solved, but the problem was that they had put down Christ Lutheran Church and it wasn't giving the right code. Um, they had to put the town in the description because there were too many Christ Lutheran Church. I think that's what it came down to.
I see.
So if that comes up again, I think that was the problem, that they had
Could
to
be.
be more specific.
Yeah, and I know John McGinley, who really engineers the whole back end with stuff that don't even have the first clue about, was able to rectify that. But the municipality is very, very important. It allows us to know if it's a bird town, because Heidi's tracking that, and so we're able to figure that out. Alice, can I call on you?
I had to find my mouse.
Okay.
I have a couple questions though. Sue said that documents could be put on the PA Audubon Council website under the resource section. I haven't tapped into that yet. Is that open to everyone?
I believe it's open to everyone. We decided that it didn't need to be protected, but I'll double check that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that it doesn't mean that you have to be a chapter president and know the secret handshake to get in. That we think we wanted to let everybody just have access to it because there's nothing in there that is sensitive or, the letter that you might write to promote the program. Who cares who sees it? That it doesn't really matter. Or if you put your chapter bylaws in there,
Okay.
not sure it's that big of a problem. I think Sue and Presque Isle has put a number of things in, but we'll have to address that in probably the January drummer, how to make better use and maybe even do a workshop on it.
Okay, I'll check it out in the meantime.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is the on the website?
Yes, it's on the website of the Pennsylvania Audubon Council, and there's a number of boxes that are kind of resources. Some are related or historic in nature. This is I think it's called Chapter Resources. I don't have it up right now, Sue, but I think it's called Chapter Resources.
Yeah, it's actually called resources. It's or a resource library. I'm sorry. And then so when you're on that page, let's see.
There's like 6 boxes there.
Yeah, the 6 boxes are there. Bird-friendly habitat, chapter resources, conservation issues, historical documents. And so when you click on chapter resources, right now there's a folder for Presque Isle Audubon items. I think I put like our bylaws there and stuff like that. But you do not need a password. You just go there and drop your stuff.
Okay. Hey, thank you very much for clarifying that. We have not really gotten started with advertising the new program. We have 2 people, myself, one of them, who have successfully applied for the program for the sign. But I think we'll wait until springtime to really do our heavy marketing through our newsletter, press releases, Facebook, etc. We do have some wintertime events, a winter sewing class in January and a conference table at a conference in February. So we'll start some promotion there. Also in March at our local nursery, who has a poster up already for the program. They're very cooperative. They even now have a greenhouse devoted to native plants. We've sort of nurtured that relationship over time. So we are providing a 1-year membership to anybody who applies. So we don't have our distribution set. I like the idea of going personally to greet people and meet them and take a photograph. I think that would be really fun to do. We'll either send or give them a welcome letter telling them about our chapter. And I think that's about it.
I did want you to share one thing, Alice, because I think the experience with Seneca Rocks may apply to some of the other chapters here. And that was, I think, one of your first signs was to a property it might have been a park or a municipal property, but it was not in your chapter territory.
Right.
And what did you do as a result of that?
Yeah, and I apologize for not identifying myself. I'm the president of Seneca Rocks Audubon in Western Pennsylvania. Yeah, Lee, this was such a great turn of events, and great timing. Lee said that there was a sign, an application. It was in Cook Forest and somewhere in our neck of the woods. And I had just happened to speak to the person who had applied for that. So I knew it was that person. And so I hand delivered it to her, Kelly Culbertson. But that also made us realize that Cooksburg and Cook Forest was not in our territory. It's sort of on the borderline. So at the same time, I had applied to National Audubon to expand our territory. So it was just really great timing for it all to come together. So we've got a whole nother set of newspapers to utilize to advertise for the bird habitat recognition program, and I'm excited about that.
That's great. I think the example here, and I'm thinking of chapters like Ty Dotton. I'm thinking of chapters like Quittapahilla. You're kind of like east. Quittapahilla is pretty much in Lebanon County, but if you go east, there is no Audubon chapter in Berks County. And if there are, if there's an opportunity to look at some of chapter territories are organized by National Audubon for decades by zip codes, postal zip codes. So you have postal zip codes assigned to your chapter territory. And if anybody that lives or resides in those zip codes are automatically assigned, if they're National Audubon members, are automatically assigned to your chapter. You get a monthly, what they call a membership report. I know many of you have your own chapter membership, a local membership as well. But the thing is with the National Audubon list, you might find, again, I'll use Quittapahilla. There may be some adjacent zip codes just into Berks County that make a lot of sense that would come to your chapter meetings where you meet. You meet in Annville. Where do you meet, Hannah?
In Lebanon.
In Lebanon. Okay. And so at any rate, getting on 322 and shooting west from Berks County might be of interest to some people. I'm thinking of Jeff in Greater Wyoming Valley. Now that there is no Northeast PA Audubon Society, they folded. It may be a possibility for uh, Greater Wyoming Valley to look at some of the zip codes that are, north and east of Wilkes-Barre, and add some of those zip codes if you take a look and can make that kind of a request. Those of us in Southeast PA, we all bump up against each other. So I know that Valley Forge and Liberty Bird Alliance need to iron out some zip code errors. And then there's that, so we get it straightened out that what sign goes to people in what particular zip code. Because some zip codes, and I'll think of Bucks County and Lehigh Valley Audubon, in western Bucks County, there's just a little portion of a zip code that really is almost all in Lehigh Valley's chapter territory. So somebody might live in Bucks County, but they're Lehigh Valley Audubon Society chapter territory. And we have a few of those with Bucks and Montgomery County. So I think I shared with Barbara, there's a town right on the Bucks County Montgomery border in Bucks County, Warrington, which happens to be a bird town. So anybody that applies in Warrington, I get the notice as Liberty Bird Alliance, but I'm thinking, oh no, they really need to get a Bucks County sign. And right now, even though there are just a few things like that that are probably only a Southeast PA problem only. But I'm just thinking for a few of your chapters, you may want to look at your zip codes and see if it makes some sense to acquire a few. I'm not talking about manifest destiny, but if there are people that are members in nearby and adjacent zip codes, and they would benefit from your programming and your newsletter and your activities, it doesn't hurt to take an analysis to look like that, to look at that kind of an outcome. So just something to share, and we can maybe share those kinds of successes too. And it's pretty easy to do, is it not, Alice?
It was I applied twice actually, and I fault myself. The first time, I don't think it really went through. The second time, it went through quickly,
Hmm.
and was no problem. So it isn't hard. It's very easy. It's an easy application.
And I know Valley Forge and then Wingcoat Audubon, now Liberty Bird Alliance. Valley Forge wanted to relinquish some of its Philadelphia zip codes because they did not do a lot of work in Philadelphia. That's mostly South Philadelphia and a little bit of West Philadelphia. So it was very agreeable for the then presidents of both chapters to do that transfer, and it went very, very quickly and easily. So not a bad way to go for us. So we're now the Philadelphia Liberty Bird Alliance is the Philadelphia chapter, with the exception of Heinz Refuge, which really goes into Delaware County, and that's a big deal for Valley Forge Audubon Society. And so they still have the zip code down in the very tip near the airport of Philadelphia. So
Are,
just to think
are
about.
are you saying that national will allow, you can officially through national change your zip code coverage?
You can add them, or I don't think you want to delete any, but you can add some, Barbara.
Okay.
And so I think I know north of you is Gifford Pinchot Audubon, but I don't know how much they are, how close they are to the Lehigh Valley border. But if you take a look at your zip code map, we have it on our website. There's the chapter territories. But if there
Mhm.
are some things, communities that are nearby that you think would benefit to be added, either north or west of, we should probably sit down and take a look at Berks County, Barbara. We both, and Valley Forge as well. Not to take over Berks County, we can't, service that big an area easily, but there are some zip codes in Berks County that are adjacent to Lehigh Valley, to Valley Forge. But we could talk about that, probably more regionally.
Mhm.
And I know Jeff Stafford has, with Great Wyoming Valley, has asked about, I wonder if we can do some of the chapter territory that was relinquished with the folding of the Northeast PA Audubon Society. So, something to think about. Okie doke. Barbara, did you want to share a little bit about what you're doing in Bucks County? And let me just quickly introduce Barbara. She is the vice president of Bucks County Birders. And the chapter in Bucks County has not yet enrolled, but we did develop a generic sign as a council because we are getting properties where in parts of the state where there are no chapters. And so we developed a sign that is just the rough grouse and the chapter, the council website. And so we've been mailing those. I don't drive out to, places in the middle of the state where there's no chapter, but um, I mail those. And the other very interesting thing is um, the part of the chapter territory that belongs to the Audubon Society of Western Pennsylvania. The Audubon Society of Western Pennsylvania has had a very successful certification program. They are not going to become part of the council's bird habitat recognition program, and that is fine. However, we're getting applications from Pittsburgh, from Allegheny County, and talk with the former executive director of the Audubon Society of Western Pennsylvania and the current contacts there. And they're happy for us to mail the signs, but we do a special cover letter when we mail them so that they know about the Audubon Society of Western Pennsylvania's certification program. They might want to take that up. And I think it was just yesterday, Nick, who is on staff and runs the conduit for bird towns and for the bird certification, backyard certification program for the Audubon Society of Western Pennsylvania. It gets copied on the letter that we send out, and he contacted one of the people, and they sent him a picture. And what we think is happening is there are people that have, I use the word totem poles. They don't have just one sign. They have the sign of every, habitat recognition program known to God and man, and they have it in their yard. So he asked the person to send a photograph, and it's surrounded by, maybe three or four or five other signs, but gives them a chance then to say, hey, here's another sign you might want, our certification program from Audubon Society of Western Pennsylvania. They have staff, they raise native plants. They have three staff that are involved with their nature centers and native plant sales. So uh, we cooperate with things like that. And Bucks County Birders is helping us with the launch in Bucks County with a generic council sign. Barbara, I know you have the signs. You want to talk a little bit about what you're doing in Bucks County?
Yeah, my plan was just to support Heidi and what what you guys are all doing, and and help distribute signs. We kind of broke the county down into north, central, and south, and have 3 different people to distribute. I'm having trouble meeting up with the Central Bucks, Tom Price. I gotta find a way to reach out to him. We've exchanged some emails, but I don't know if he's getting ones just from me. Maybe it's just ending up in his spam. I'm not sure. But I haven't yet gotten him signs, and I know he has some to deliver. So not a lot of activity in Lower Bucks yet, but it's a quiet start. After you gave your talk at the birders meeting, we had 3 immediately, and a bunch of other people interested. So it's good. I don't know if
Barbara,
Heidi wants to.
I do. I just want to jump in. Barbara, first of all, thank you so much for jumping in and, helping us in Bucks County. We have, like 15 bird towns here in Bucks County. So, everyone's really excited and eager to support the program and really, help launch it. So thank you for your support on that. I live right around the corner from Tom. I have like 7 signs that I can deliver to him. That would be helpful. So just let me know if you like, because it's easy for me to reach out to Tom.
It might help, but I just feel bad because I feel like our connection is not good. So we'll better work that out.
Do you have the right email for him? Because it should be Thomas Price is his email.
I'll double check.
Yeah, because sometimes if you put Tom Price, he won't get that email. It has to be Thomas Price, just so you know.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Thomas Price, I think, at gmail.com.
Okay.
I can send you his phone number too. I don't think Tom would mind you texting occasionally.
I liked the idea that people had about the sign-outs. Like, I was trying to keep track of who had what, because I don't want to lose track of signs. Like, I know they're the expensive part, so I want to be responsible with them. And I tried to set up something on my Google Drive that I could share with Heidi and the other people so that they know, what's outstanding and how many I think they have, and they can update me. But I haven't really figured out the best way to do that yet. So still working on that.
Yeah, Barbara Malty, I'd love to hear your process too. You said you had a clipboard, with names. Do you have, I guess maybe you can share it with us, on the resource page, but I think I'd love to see what your sheet looks like for the clipboard.
Yeah, there are 2 different things I made for myself. After a while, when I started handing signs to the different pickup points, I realized I kind of want to know who has how many, because like I gave more to one place that I thought more people would go to, whatever. I want to know where the signs are. So I have my own spreadsheet in our Google Drive where I just write down, Edge of the Woods Nursery has 8 and Louisemore Park has 6, whatever. And then if I or somebody delivers more, they'll be recorded in the spreadsheet. But the other thing, the clipboards, it was actually from a suggestion that Lee made when we were first talking about this. I said, once people have the letter that says you have qualified, you can go pick up your sign at any of these 7 places, what's to kind of stop somebody from making the rounds and picking up 7 signs if they want to, or 2, whatever. They could get more than 1. And not that most people would, but I just kind of thought, is there anything that would really stop anybody from doing that? And Lee said, well, why don't you have them maybe sign a sheet when they pick it up? Mm-hmm. So that's what we did. We gave each of the 7 pickups places a clipboard with a sheet that just says name, date received, and the instruction that when they hand a sign to somebody, just have them write their name and the date.
Yeah. And I've given some thought to that as well, is that if it gets to the point where I stop driving and I have like Briarbush Nature Center and the Upper Montgomery County Water Authority and other places that are willing to hand them out, when I get an application and I get that same email that so-and-so is qualified, I might direct them to a specific place to pick it up rather than their choice. So I might say, if you're in Upper Montgomery County, you need to go to the Upper Montgomery County Water Authority and make sure the contact person there also knows that someone's been assigned, so they can check off that name when they come and pick up their sign at that location. Or if I know it's somebody from Upper Dublin or the places near to the Briarbush Nature Center, I'll sign somebody. You need to go pick up your sign at Briarbush and give Briarbush the name of the individuals that have been told to come there, so that we can close that circle. I'm thinking of it that way. Haven't done it yet because I've been delivering the signs and having fun doing it. It's not been too arduous, but it could get arduous quickly, especially in the spring.
Yeah.
Okay. Jeff, I know you're on the call. I don't know if you want to share anything. I know that your board has approved enrolling in the program, and I think working on it, but don't know what the status is yet. So feel free to whatever you want to share.
Yeah. So I'm with the Greater Wyoming Valley Audubon Society, just a board member. But I know we just approved at our last meeting, and we haven't done anything since that. So I'll be working with Bonnie, our president, and try and move this forward pretty quickly. But taking lots of notes. There's lots of good tips today.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Barbara talked about, and I'm willing to go almost anywhere in the state, depends if you feed me. But I can do a program on the bird habitat program. Now, with Bucks County Birders, we're also talking a lot about Bird Safe Philly, our Lights Out and Bird Collision program, which was a lot of fun. And some people came to surprise me at that meeting. It was pretty fun. We had Frank Gill and we had Bruce McNaught. Some of you know Bruce. Who and some other Sally Conine and other folks that came to hear about Bird Safe Philly. But I know that Sally she's in New Jersey, but she got a bird habitat recognition sign from Bucks County Audubon or Bucks County Birders, with the generic sign. So that was kind of fun. She went out with that tucked under her arm. It was great. Yeah. Anybody not get a chance to share?
I want to jump in for Birdtown, but I just wanted to know if John from Ty Dotton wanted to share anything.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, Sean. I know we talked a little bit at the beginning, but we really hadn't started the meeting. So you are on.
Yeah, as I said, we're just got our logo all up and just got it yesterday. We're excited to get working on it. Like I said, we're really looking also to a lot of I know is contacting our state parks in our area, because I know I work a lot with our area parks, and the majority of them have environmental educational specialists who do a lot of programming and stuff in the parks. And I think that this program they can also use in some of their educational stuff. So I'm going to have contacts at the individual parks, but I also have a contact of one of the managers who's in charge of the one territory. He used to be just in charge of the Hills Creek complex, but now he's the next one up, next higher up. And we've even talked at our Audubon that if it's something that the state couldn't do, because they have a budget now, so maybe they might be able to, that maybe we might try to put that fee in for them for the 10 state parks or so that we have in our two areas, both in Tioga and Potter counties. And we're also looking a lot at the schools. We think it could be a real good educational program to get them involved, not just for them filling it out, but maybe having each school has a class or something that's doing something in that, where they actually the ones who are going to fill out the application, and they're the ones who actually will kind of monitor it themselves, instead of just a teacher filling it out and sending it in or something. So that's kind of where we are. I will talk with the president later this week, and so all you need is our logo and our website
and your web address.
Okay.
And I get the signs for you almost in a New York minute.
Okay. That sounds good.
Yeah, I think Hannah got the stuff to me and approved the sign. You have to make sure you like it. And then it came like within days, didn't it, Hannah?
I walked into my office and there was like a long cardboard box on it. And I'm thinking, what the heck is this? I didn't order anything because I didn't realize it would come like 2 days later. It was called
Yeah.
Minutemen Prints or Minutemen Press or something like that. So,
Yeah, and let me explain that. I actually did 4 quotes to get the signs, and some of them were, Vox, is it Vox signs was the most expensive, and they had done the signs for Audubon, Pennsylvania in the past. The cost of aluminum was very high, but Minuteman, which is right around the corner from me, was the cheapest. They have 2 places they're produced. They don't produce them where their office is. It's, I think, a place in New Jersey or somewhere that they weren't quite sure where to tell me, but they get them turned around and then they mail them. I think Peter showed me they come like express mail or something, and you get them very quickly. So the other thing is I'm using Minuteman now to produce the rack cards, and I think I have to get a better system so that you can tell me that, hey, I need more signs or I need more rack cards. What we're doing now, I think we provided every chapter that was in the program with 250 rack cards. It's not much more expense to get you 500. So it's a lot easier to give you 500 rack cards. So I probably over the winter will just send you all 500 rack cards for all the chapters that are enrolled, because then you can put these out as far as promoting the programs in nature centers or garden shops or wherever you think, or even hand them out at meetings. Where people can take a look at them, or when you're doing your tabling or community outreach. If you have bird towns, you can give a quantity to your bird towns, which some of us have, 15 in Bucks County, think about that you can give a quantity to each of them. So I think as somebody mentioned, the expensive part of the program are the signs, and that actually if you order 50 signs, it's a cheaper unit price than ordering 30, whatever the number is. There's a little bit of a savings per sign by ordering more. So I'll encourage you to, since there's not a cost to the chapter, to think about ordering at least the 50 some. And here's Valley Forge already ordering the third round of signs. I think they do 50 at an order. So they've got 150 signs. They're ready to roll. I don't think they're going to need more for a little while, but because they've distributed them, they have a pretty large chapter territory. That they have them in different places, but we can go that way. Any problems we need to address? Anything that? Yes.
I just had a couple things real quick. For Birdtown, so I'm the president of Birdtown, Pennsylvania. Great to see everybody here this evening. Just a couple things. So on the application form, I had mentioned to you, Lee, this is a problem. It says check here for Birdtown emails. It would be better if we could say Bird Beat newsletter would be better, I think, to say that.
Yeah, I'll circle back to you on that because that is another important point. You can opt in. One thing that's nice about this program, it ties in. And I'll let you say a few more things if you would, Heidi, about the Bird Beat newsletter. It's perfect for people that have their yards or they're working on native plants. And it then links them into the Birdtown resources, which are really rich on the Birdtown website. But it's also your own chapter and the council. We now have 400 some odd people getting the drummer because they've opted in, to receive it. And hopefully you're getting people that want to opt into Bucks County Birders, or, as this rolls, that you'll get more people that are interested in getting your information or your electronic newsletter. But we did it as an opt-in, so that, people will have to check off the box that they want to be included. But it looks like most people are doing that. And I know, Heidi, you've gotten a lot with BirdBeat. I think a lot of people have signed in.
I think there would be more if it didn't say, it says Birdtown emails, which is kind of confusing. So I think it would be better if it said Bird Beat newsletter would be better from Birdtown, Pennsylvania. And it's a great newsletter. It's quarterly. Barbara Mulch, she contributes to one of the columns about native plants for birds, which is awesome. So it provides seasonal tips for residents about what they can be doing to support birds and healthier habitats. So think people would really enjoy it. We get a lot of positive feedback from all the different issues that we put out. All the articles that are published in the newsletter are on our newsletter are on our website as well. So we really encourage our Birdtown leaders to use those articles, and of course the chapters are welcome to use them as well. So that was one question and one point, and then the second one was, is it possible to purchase signs separately, without doing the application, just for promotional purposes? So, I just find if you have a sign at a tabling event, it's so much more effective to get the word out, and people are like, oh, this is a beautiful sign, I'd like it too. The rack cards are great too, but I'm just wondering, can we purchase signs separately? I'm thinking about my Birdtown leaders that have tables, if they could each have their own, sign, is that possible?
I think we work it out, so each one is, and I think this came from Alice originally when we designed the signs to make sure the chapter logo went on the sign. So if we say, for example, Lehigh Valley Audubon, and we'd like to have, what are there, 8 bird towns in Lehigh Valley at this point? Yeah, so if we needed 8 free signs for the bird towns, I
Mhm.
think we could work that out.
Great.
And the same way with Bucks County or Valley Forge. So you and I can talk and make sure that that can happen.
Okay, that'd be great, Lee. I mean,
Okay.
there's 95 bird towns now, so that's quite a bit. So let's talk about how we can do
Yeah.
that. Thirdly, for the bird towns, we will be providing quarterly reports. So I'm going to be sending reports out in March, June, September, and December. So I'm organizing them right now, and Lee and I were in discussion about what they would look like. So I'm thinking about just doing the quarterly report for the entire clutch, and for the bird town clutch, and then obviously reports for bird towns that are not in a clutch. But that would then give them access to all the different folks that registered for the program within the clutch area. Is that okay with everybody doing that? Is that okay with you, Lee? And doing
Yeah,
that?
I think what I want to discuss is that there are bird towns or there are properties that are not in a bird town. And
Mhm.
the chapter gets that report, but I'd also like the way to track, which I think I mentioned earlier, where there might be some traction to create another bird town because of the number of uh, properties that have qualified in a particular municipality, and that there seems to be interest there. And I think that was the way Steve Safier originated the program. There was the bird habitat program before Birdtown created, and he used the backyard pledge or the bird friendly yard pledge, and then the bird friendly habitat program, and then it evolved into Birdtown. So I don't think it's an issue to do that, but I'd like to make sure the chapters are included in those reports.
No, of course, I would send it. So, for all the bird town clutches, we're working with the Audubon chapter within their territory doing this. I would just be including all the registrants that are within that Audubon territory, which is the bird town clutch.
Yeah,
So all the bird town leaders in that will get the same report 4 times.
right. And
Okay.
even the chapters that don't have a bird town yet, or only have one bird town and not a clutch, maybe tie it out and they'll eventually get Mansfield to be a bird town. But the the idea would be to make sure they are able to track it themselves, but it'd be a nice piece to be able to give them, hey, here's how many properties are in Wellsboro Bird Town.
Okay, thanks, Lee, for that. So I'll get those reports out within the next week to all the bird towns so that they have that information so they can contact them too about events that are coming up. And I think that's everything for me. So thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Let's see, pretty much open. I don't think I have anything else really to really need to discuss. Sue?
Yeah, this isn't a discussion thing, but I was wondering if anybody had approached their local garden clubs with this program.
Oh, that was the thing I forgot. What has worked to really promote people applying? And I gave a program about the bird habitat program to the Huntington Valley Garden Club. It's an older garden club in Huntington Valley in kind of eastern Montgomery County. Um, Former president, when I was principal of a school, we created a native habitat in the schoolyard and tapped maple trees and did all kinds of things with the Huntington Valley Garden Club. But um, that person has not been president for a long time, and I've not been principal of that school for decades. But they invited me to give a talk. 12 signs were in advance. Were at that garden club. They all have native plant gardens, and they were very enthusiastic. We got a group shot for our Facebook of 12 people with signs for their yard. So talking to a garden club, where there are people that really understand native plants and not just, in our part of the world, the Philadelphia Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, and there's a lot of ornamental stuff that's not native. But it was really a very productive talk. As Barbara said, I gave it to the Bucks County birders, and I think it ultimately ended up with 5 applications, including Bruce's son, an Ambler. But applications came in, and having the rack cards. And I don't know if there's your chapter program, having the rack cards, and your rack cards are coming, Hannah. But the idea is that you might be able to do a few minutes around your regular monthly program to promote the program. Hey, here's what we're doing, and provide that kind of the rack card, and people will register. The other thing that we have not done yet as a chapter is to have people come to a chapter meeting to pick up their sign. That was something else we thought of, which we have not tried yet. But if we get applicants we meet each month, say, come to our meeting, and then, get your sign. And we haven't tried that yet, but that might happen later in the spring, just to get people in the door to promote more participation in our chapter activities.
I work in the same building as the Lebanon County Master Gardeners. And I know our Master Gardeners are crazy about native plants. We recently had a program where we talked about ways to encourage birds to come to your backyard. So one of our board members at Quiddy Audubon gave a talk about different kinds of bird seed and different kinds of bird feeders. And then the Master Gardeners talked about native plants and how to encourage birds with native plants as well. So I know they're adjacent to garden clubs, but the Penn State Extension offices are very involved in the community and a wealth of information.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think some of the bird towns have made that connection as well, if I'm not mistaken, Heidi. So one other thing, and part of the presentation I did in Bucks County was for Bucks County birders, was about our Bird Safe Philly. We've been doing a lot of retrofits of nature centers and now of libraries. We just completed probably our last retrofit of the season with a Philadelphia library. And we're doing a program to a high school that comes to that library. And we're going to be doing a program for that community about bird collision, but we'll promote the bird habitat, but then also promote that some of the different techniques using a PowerPoint that actually Peter Sanger was the main driver for developing back in 2017 that we got with a Audubon in Action grant, and use that to try to get people to take action at their own home. So we're looking at doing the retrofits in very public places, public libraries, nature centers, which I know that we'll be following up with the director at Peace Valley Nature Center, where Bucks County birders meet. They have some windows done, some not done. So we hope to be able to complete that building and then do some programming as part of their outreach to their members as well. So we get people to take action at their own homes or their schools or their own properties to try to mitigate bird collision. Anything else for the good of the cause?
I was just going to say, we had the idea to have one of our pickup spots be our local native plant nursery.
Yes.
And they, and I said to them, it could be win-win. People will come here, people who love native plants will come here to pick up their sign, and I bet they're going to go home with some plants, right? And I actually saw it in action. I was up there getting some plants myself, and somebody came in to pick up her sign, said, I'm just here to pick up my sign, and left with like $120 worth of plants. So
Good thing. And that's Edge of the Woods Nursery, who
yeah, exactly. I
from my
mean,
neck of the woods
you
drive
can't
up
go
to.
there without taking something home,
Yeah,
right? So it's really a win-win if you can get native plant nurseries to participate.
which is good. And I know, so doing garden clubs, it works, but other kinds of presentations work too. I think you could do it to, some school districts. I think Sean was talking about that, where the presidents of the PTOs, the PTAs get together. You might be able to get into a school district and do a presentation, about that. Or I don't know, sometimes there are interfaith uh, councils in a community, so from variety of religious, leaders from the different churches or mosques or synagogues or other places of worship will get together, sometimes, quarterly. Yeah, it may be worth talking about that, to discuss native plants. Just some thoughts, but that's another thing we can do from time to time is meet and find out what's working or what isn't working. You might try something and know this thing just didn't work at all, So like trying to do it at a high school football game is probably a bad idea, but there may be some good ideas too. Are we good, everyone? If you have some thoughts afterwards, just send me an email, or if you had some, other thoughts as you ruminate on this, as you get rid of your leftover turkey, and you have some other sorts of things to think about, give us a shout out and how we can help. Okey doke.
Thanks, Lee. This has been helpful.
Yep. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank
Yep.
you. Good night.
Thanks all.
Always.